I don't think it's not going to take much time, but should it be difficult? We should anticipate it to be difficult. Why? It's what? It's 27 to 40. It's from the last paragraph. How much time should you take for the? I personally believe the first one being the easiest one. You should try to finish it within what? 12 to 13 minutes. Let it take 15 minutes. The second one, try to finish within 17, 18 minutes. Let it take 20 minutes. The last one, try to target around 17, 18 minutes. Let it take around 22 minutes. So you'll be able to complete that 1 hour. You'll have to answer write the answers as well, in the answer sheet. So it takes around, I think, 7 to 8 or 10 minutes around. So you will basically get 50 minutes, 50, 51 minutes to solve this passage, 3 passages. But while you are writing the answers, would you be able to solve the passage? Is it possible to do 2 things at the same time? I really don't think so. So that's one of the reasons people don't take into account that time, that 7 to 8 minutes to almost 10 minutes, depending on the speed of your writing. Okay, so let's check it. Let's check it. We are going to finish this one today. Neuroscientists, do you love solving this kind of scientific? Is it easy or difficult? What do you think?
Sir, I think it is difficult, but it is a very interesting topic.
Okay. So it's neuroscientists reveal how to think differently. Okay, so we might learn something that might help us to think differently, be different. Let's check it out. So what we're going to do, Ami, personally, I will always suggest you to check the question from the back. It helps. This is the way I always will suggest you. No matter whether it's shine or rain, I'm not going to budge from this technique because it has helped me, and so far I have seen it helps. But I'm not suggesting everybody of you to do that. Try it out. If you think that it works for you, do that. If you think something else, no problem. There's no one rule. There's no one rule. Here what I see, let's see. So ekhane ekta kaj korte pari, if it becomes easy, if we can identify from where this information starts. Usually what happens, do you think these are in order? Should this be in order?
Not really. I mean, every time.
Okay, we'll check it. Probably. Other than that, it becomes very difficult. Okay, let's see. Thinking like a successful is demanding because. Demanding, what's the meaning of demanding? Who can tell me? What's the meaning of demanding? Anybody?
What we need, so this.
What you record actually?
No, what is no. It's not that demanding. Demanding money, important. Important money is very demanding. This is a very demanding job. Money ki.
Yeah, wanted.
No. We demand na. It's not that demand. You are getting wrong that demand means. Say, think about the job of a police. It's very demanding. Very difficult.
Onerous.
Very difficult, very cumbersome, very difficult. It takes time, it takes courage, it takes everything. So that's a demanding job.
Means related to working, right?
Thinking yes. BCS is a very demanding, job. Okay, nowadays. Okay, they will give you money, but they will make sure that you work really hard. Okay, thinking like a successful iconoclast is, what is iconoclast? Any idea? What is icon? Icon is someone who is very different, very, superior.
Idol.
Role model.
Icon money.
Or idol.
Idol. Okay, fine. It's demanding because they must be giving a reason. So thinking. It's not about being. Thinking like is very demanding. Okay, let's stop it here. If we find it, we'll find it. Other than that, we'll later. Okay, thinking like a successful iconoclast is demanding because there's some reason and they have given it. We don't have to read it now. We don't have to read it because we'll be able to find it. Now let's move on to yes, no, not given. I have always told you that if you get yes, no, not given, how many you should check? 2. Why? Because what if the first one is completely not given? It's nothing mentioned there. So you might have problem with the second one. Because if you check both of them, then what happens? If it's a yes, no, if it is a not given, if this is yes or no, then you can, as long as you can find it out, it's become easier for you to understand the first one is what? Completely not given. Other than that, you keep on reading and reading and reading, you waste time. So just take it from my experience, read it. Exposure to different events forces the brain to think differently. Exposure to different events forces the brain to think. Okay, exposure to is it better to what remember the words or the idea? Which one? Who can tell me? Which one is easier?
Or the words or the keywords.
No, I sometimes I don't agree with that. Why? What could be the reason? Because they change the words. Sometimes you simply miss the word. So I think the idea, they can change the idea, but they can change the word synonym. So try to understand. I think it's easier. What we read here, do you remember? Is demanding, is difficult. Thinking like I can say, you don't forget that. You don't forget that. But if you remember the words, sometimes you tend to forget that. Exposure to different events forces the brain to think differently. Exposure. So if you exposure, if you have been experiencing or facing different kind of situation where your brain become capable of thinking differently. And that's the thing. If you have less exposure, you can't think it. If you have more exposure, you can. Okay, what about the second one? Iconoclasts are usually receptive to new experience. Receptive means iconoclast, receptive. What does that mean? Receptive means they can understand that easily. Huh? Receptive. Okay, they're receptive. So these are exposure to different. Okay, so let's put it there because we can come back to this anytime now, but we'll always try to solve it from the beginning because these are very likely these are going to be at the very beginning. Okay, so here let's start from here. We just kept it at the back of our mind. One was what? Let's check it. One was what? Exposure to different. They can if they have more experience, and another one is iconoclast usually receptive to new experience. Oh, for new experience, very important. They can pick up the new experience quicker than other. Get my point? Okay, so let's start from here. Neuroeconomics. Okay, neuroeconomics is a field of study which seeks to. So we are dealing with neuro. So should we read these? Does it help much, or should we read the text then come here? I'm not going to read it because it's a waste of time. It's a kind of a waste of time. I'm reading all this again and again. I'll be reading it one more time. You get my point? Why should I? Neuroeconomics is a field of study which seeks to. Seeks to means what it tries to find. Okay, let's start from here. Let's start from here. Okay, let's start. Now what we're going to do, let's read it. And what we are looking for, neuroeconomics. Fine. Then we'll be reading it. Then we'll be reading that and hopefully we'll be able to find it out. In the last decade, a revolution has occurred in the way that scientists think about the brain. We now know that the decisions humans make can be traced to the firing pattern of neurons in specific parts of the brain. These discoveries have led to the field known as neuroeconomics. But they're asking not, well, what neuroeconomics tries to find. Have you found the answer? No. Which studies? Here, the answer, we should be able to find it. Which studies means, which means this neuro. Which studies the brain's secret to success in an economic environment that demands innovation and being able to do things differently from the competitor. So neuroeconomics is a field where which studies the brain's secret to success, how the brain works in an economic environment that demands innovation and being able to do things differently from. A brain that can do this is an iconoclastic one, a very different one. Briefly, an iconoclast is a person who does something that others say can be done. Okay, we understood it, kind of. And let's read it. Which one? Which one is the correct answer? Which one is the correct answer? Cause a change in how scientists understand brain. 6 to cause a change. Is it?
No, sir.
No. What about B? Understand how good decisions are made in the.
Sir,
With
it
6 to
might be C,
understand.
sir.
Understand
No.
how the brain is linked to achievement in competitive fields.
Yeah.
Or trace the specific fire pattern neurons in different areas. I think D. Should you think D? D should be the answer?
No,
D?
sir, isn't that C?
It might be C, sir.
Understand. Okay, let's see. Understand how the brain is linked to achievement in competitive fields. Can we check it? Achievement. Huh? You think D? Okay, let's see. Okay, here they're saying this discovery led to the field as economy, which studies the brain's success. Success such as the achievement in an economic environment that demands innovation and being able to do things differently from competitors. That's all. So success, brain's secret to success, brain success. Beta কি বলছে, understand how good decisions are made in the brain. আচ্ছা এখানে কিন্তু they are not talking about what decision. কোনো economic decision, have they made it? No. It could be any decision. সেই জন্য বিটা হবে না. See, understand how the brain is linked to achievement in competitive fields. Okay, this is a competitive field. I think this is always, economic environment is always a very
Competitive field.
competitive
Of
field.
course.
At last, trace the specific fire pattern. Are they talking about fire pattern?
No, sir. There is no
Then
fire
they're
pattern
not.
or there is
They're
no
not
clicking.
going
Yeah.
that details of neurons in different areas. No. এখানে, listen, you'll have to understand. Don't try to connect it because they haven't talked about achievement. They haven't talked about competition, and don't try to assume that this is a link. আমার কথা বুঝছেন? এখানে কিন্তু ওই ব্যাপারে কিচ্ছু বলা হয়নি, এটা বলা হয়নি, ওই ওয়ার্ড গুলো থাকতেই হবে. You must be able to link. তাহলে which one is the correct answer? Which one? C. C is the correct answer because it matches. What about the next one? According to the writer, iconoclasts are distinctive because why they are very different. Iconoclasts are different. Is there any word here? A brain that can is okay. So briefly, an iconoclast is a person who does something that others say can do.
That's the difference. I mean, that makes the difference.
Have you got the answers here, or we should read more?
We should read more. So.
Okay, let's read more, and then we can always come back. One thing we can do, we can even read it a little bit here, huh? So we'll be able to. They create unusual brain circuits. Their brain function differently. Their personalities are distinctive. They make decision easily.
I think it might be D, sir.
Okay, let's read it. A brain that can do is iconoclast. They can do things differently. Briefly, an iconoclast is a person who does something that others say can. Okay, why don't you read it a little bit here? This definition. This definition implies that are different from other people, but more precisely, is their brain that different in 3 distinct ways: perception, fear response, and social intelligence. Each of these 3 functions utilize a different circuit in the brain. Naysayers might suggest that the brain is irrelevant, that thinking in an original or even revolutionary way is more matter of personality than brain function. Okay, so but which one? Have you got the answer? Iconoclast distinctive because what? They create unusual brain circuits.
Personalities. See.
Their brains function differently.
See.
Their personalities are distinctive. They make decision easily. I don't think so. They have easy. Which one? Did
C.
they mention anything about personalities?
See, sir.
Personalities?
Yes, sir.
Where? Where is
Yes,
the
sir.
personality?
They mentioned
Perception,
in
fear,
the-
response. That means
It
that it
definitely
is
implies they are
personality.
different from other people, but more
Even
it's their
revolutionary
brains.
more
No,
is
it's their brains that are different in three distinct ways. It's not personality, it's their brain. Their brain can think in these three ways. They can handle these things at the same time,
About-
probably. তাহলে কি হবে? I don't think it's personalities.
So what about the fifth line?
What about the fifth
In
line?
the fifth line, they say that way is more. I mean, personality matters.
They're
more than
thinking.
their
No, they're always talking about their thinking. Thinking and personalities, I think, could be different. Matter of is more than a personality. It's more than. More than means something that's more than personality. It's the thinking.
Oh, okay.
Way they think. তাহলে কোনটা হবে? Which
There
one?
are unusual
Okay.
brain circuits.
No. They create. No,
different. B.
I think it's
They create
It is
unusual
B.
brain circuit.
their brains. Sometimes you can think too deep. বুঝতে বেশি চিন্তা করা যাবে না। এবং আরো একটা কথা, এই যে they think unusual, they create unusual, এটার সঙ্গে তো অন্য কিছু linked up না। It must be more linked up. It could be very independent idea. এখানে কিন্তু কি হচ্ছে brain different, a function differently. এটা brain, almost everything is there. it covers more of the areas. ঠিক আছে? এটা কিন্তু খেয়াল করবেন। এটা কিন্তু কোন কিছুর সঙ্গে অত কানেক্ট করছে না, কিন্তু এটা শুধু ইন্ডিপেন্ডেন্ট আইডিয়া। দে ক্রিয়েট আনইউজুয়াল ব্রেন সার্কিট, বাট উইথ হোয়াট, অ্যাবাউট হোয়াট, দে ডোন্ট টক অ্যাবাউট দ্যাট। বুঝছেন? ওইটা কিন্তু ডিফারেন্ট। এটা খেয়াল করার চেষ্টা করবেন। এখানে এই ওয়ার্ডগুলো দেখেন, ব্রেইনস ফাংশন ডিফারেন্টলি। ব্রেইনস ফাংশন এখানে কোনটা একটু দেখি আবার। এ ব্রেইন দ্যাট ক্যান ডু, মানে এই যে এখানে বলছে, এই যে এখানেই আসলে আছে ডিম্যান্ড being able to, bring success, কিন্তু brains, brains do things differently from competitors. A brain that can do is মানে they think differently, is a person who something that others have. The definition implies they are different from others, but more precisely different from others মানে personality, but more precisely it's their brain that are different. Brains different in three distinct ways. আচ্ছা, আর এখানে দেখি what they're saying, their brains function differently. এইগুলো function, each of the three function, এই যে function,
distinctive ways.
এই যে function, all the words are there. সেই জন্য always try to find the answers যেখানে synonym গুলো কি থাকবে। synonym ছাড়া কিন্তু আপনার বেশিরভাগ অ্যান্সার কারেক্ট হবে না, এটা ভালো করে খেয়াল করবেন। আমরা মনে হয় জেনারেল পড়ি, কিন্তু জেনারেল অ্যান্সার গুলো হবে না, বিকজ জেনারেল হলে কি অ্যান্সার গুলো কি হয়ে যায়, ভেগ হয়ে যায়। আমার কথা বুঝছেন? অলওয়েজ ট্রাই টু ম্যাচ দিস ওয়ার্ডস উইথ সিনোনিমস, পেয়ে যাবেন। আচ্ছা, what about the next one? According to the writer, the brain works efficiently because. So a works efficiently, what are the reasons? Brain works efficiently, there could be some reasons. আচ্ছা, এটা কি পড়লে সুবিধা আগে নাকি? আচ্ছা, একটু পড়ে দেখি। It is eyes quickly, fine. It interprets data, generates own energy, relies on previous events. আচ্ছা, efficiently, what আমাদের এখন efficient, why brains work efficiently? We'll have to find the reason. এখন তাহলে efficiency সঙ্গে যাবে, আমরা কোথায় পাবো? But the field of neuroscience was born of realizing that physical working of brain places limitation on the way we make decisions. But understanding this constraint, we begin to understand why some people match to a different drum beat. তাহলে we are looking for 29. আচ্ছা, 29. We are looking for 29.
Yeah.
আমরা কি, have you so far found the answers? 29.
Yeah.
আচ্ছা, 29 হলো according to the writer, the brain works efficiently because. Why? Let's read it here.
Three paragraphs, yes.
The first thing to realize is that the brain suffer limited resources. That the brain suffers from limited resources. It has a fixed energy budget, about same as 40-watt light bulb. So it has evolved to work as efficient. Now we have the word efficiently. Now we'll have to as possible. Tale arekta hocche energy, na? Energy. There's an energy. They have talked about a fixed energy.
Yes.
This is where most people are impeded. Impeded means they're stopped from being an iconoclast. So if you can, AJ, energy, if you can use the energy, it doesn't work. For example, when confronted, faced with information streaming from the eye, the brain will interpret this information. The brain will interpret the information in the quickest way possible. Thus, how? If the energy is there. Thus, it will draw on both past experience and any other source of information, such as what other people say, to make sense of what is seeing. So the connection. In order to make the connection, you need what? Energy. And you will have to connect those ideas. This happens all the time. Are we sure? Should we read further, or we should go to the answers?
I think it is enough, sir.
Okay, now let's read it.
Energy.
The writer said that, oh no, sorry. Efficiently, it uses the eyes quickly. No. It interprets the...
C.
I think it is B, sir.
C.
Logically, let's read the whole
No,
thing.
sir.
It generates its own energy.
Yes, sir.
It relies on previous events.
C.
C.
C is the answer, maybe.
It generates its own energy.
Yes.
Where you'll go for C?
Why?
Why? Because did they mention anything? Because it's what? It's generating its own energy. That's why. First thing to realize, let's read it. Limited resources. It has a fixed energy budget, about 40. Okay, fine. Evolve. So it has evolved to work as efficiently as possible. This is why the most people are impeded from being an iconoclast. For example, when confronted with information streaming for the eyes, egulo hocche sob catchword. The brain will interpret this information in the quickest way possible. Okhane kintu logical kotha boleni. Thus, it will draw on past experience and any other source of information, such as what other people say, to make sense of what it is seeing. This happens all the time. Can we read more? The brain takes shortcut that works so well as we hardly ever aware of. We think our perception of the real world is there, but they are all biological and electrical rumblings. Perception is only simply a product of what your eyes and transmit, more than the physical reality patterns. Okay, so which one? What do you think? Which one? What they mentioned? That it uses eyes quickly? No. Logically, no. They didn't mention. It relies on private. Okay, this is, and it generates its own energy. Did they mention that it? No, I don't think even they mentioned its own. I think they believe that, but
it
they
relies
use
on
their,
previous.
I think
event,
this one. This is
D, previous events.
Data. I think this one. It's close, but I don't think they mentioned that.
Because there's a mention that it can be defined by other, informations, not
other
just
information. What
past.
they do, they have it in the past and they check the present information, they try to relate it. Then what happens? You don't have to work that hard because the information is always there. You're not producing everything right at this moment. I think, that's why it becomes easy. Nahale, what it should have taken more time. We had to process everything on that instant, but we are not processing. We are kind of key. Amra ager information er songe ki korchi ekta similarity kore, then we are coming to the present decision. Thik ache? Okay. So let's move on to the next one. The writer says that perception is. The writer says that perception. What is perception? Should we read it here or should we? Okay, I think it's better to read here. What is perception? Did we mention anything about perception? Here. I think perception is here. So let's read from here. Thus, it is draw on both past experience and any sources such as what other people say to make sense of what it is seeing. This happens all the time. The brain takes shortcut that works so well that we are hardly aware. What is a shortcut now? We think our perception of the world are real, but they are only biological and electrical rumblings. Our perception of the world are real. Perception is not simply a product of what our eyes or ears transmit to our brain. More than the physical reality of photons or sound waves, perception is a product of the brain. আচ্ছা মানে এর ফলে কি আমরা we are seeing the same thing but different people are perceiving differently. আমার কথা বুঝছো? সো ওই যদি একই হতো আমি একটা কিছু একটা দেখছি সবাই যদি ওইটা একই ভাবে চিন্তা করতো তাহলে কিন্তু সবাই একভাবেই চিন্তা করতো. Now what's happening, you are seeing it, those impulses are coming up, but the way we think, we perceive, these are very different. It depends on our perceptions, our how we think. The perception is what? A combination of photons and sound waves. Is it that? I don't
No.
think so. A reliable product of what your senses transmit. No, they're not saying it's not reliable. The result of brain processes. Could be a process we are usually conscious of. Are we conscious?
No.
Sí, sí.
It's
I think
totally unconscious.
30 should be what? 30 should be?
Sí, sí.
Okay, so it should be C. Everybody? 30?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 30 is C. 30 is C. Okay, now let's move on to, according to the writer, an iconoclast thinker. Okay, so I think here is better to read here because we don't have any idea, what they're talking about. Centralizes perceptual thinking in one part of the brain. One part centralizes, avoids cognitive traps, has a brain that is hardwired for learning, has more opportunities than the average person, has more opportunities. Okay, let's read it. What is that? Have we found this one? No, probably not. So we are looking for what? The 31. Let's read it here. Perception is central to iconoclasm. So what is most important? It makes them different. Perception. Those iconoclast people. Iconoclasts see things differently. They see things differently to other people. Their brains do not fall into efficiency pitfalls, means traps, as much as the average person's brain. They see things different. Iconoclasts either because they were born that way or through learning, when both are important, have found ways to work around the perceptual shortcuts that plague most people. Perceptions is not something that is hardware. No, it's not hardware in every person. If you think it different, if you see different, the result will be different. What we assume here, they think differently and they don't fall into traps. So which one? Centralized perception thinking in one part of the brain? I don't think so. Did they mention about one part? No. Avoid cognitive traps? Yes. Something, but is it exactly cognitive trap? Avoid. Do not fall into efficiency pitfalls as much as ever. Efficiency pitfalls and cognitive traps, are those same thing? Cognitive traps and efficiency? Maybe or
yeah, maybe, sir, because
maybe,
pitfall also anticipating trap. Yeah.
Okay, maybe or maybe not. Let's check it. Why don't you check the other one? Brain, no, it's not correct. It's not hardware. They mentioned has more opportunities than average.
No,
I don't think so.
Sir.
They get the same, but they think differently. They don't make a mistake. So, ekhane konta? I think
B.
the closest is B. The closest is B or C.
B.
B, sir. B is the
Okay.
because they do not let their brain fall into the
Okay, so this one is C.
efficient cognitive
this one is
traps.
D,
Pitfall.
and this one is B. Fine. Okay, now let's move on to the next one. So here, what we have, this is the second page, and this is yes, no, not given. We're not sure where it starts from. Have we read exposure to different events forces the brain to think different? Exposure to different events. Different events. Have we talked about different events? No, I don't think so. We have so far, come across this idea. Let's read it from here. So what was the first two? exposure to different events. We are looking for different events, forces different. Iconoclasts are usually receptive to new experience. We are talking about new experience, receptive, and different. Okay, can we read it from here? Let's read it. What is that? Okay, what was into the brain? We'll have to read it from there. We have to read it. Let me read it. Huh? I have the page. Perception is not something that is hardwired into the brain. Huh? It is a learned process which both a cause and an opportunity of change. The brain faces the fundamental problem of interpreting physical stimuli from the senses. Everything the brain sees, hears, or touches has multiple interpretation. The one that is ultimately chosen is simply the brain's best theory. In technical terms, this conjecture, what is conjecture?
Guesswork.
Guesswork, good. Have their basis in the statistical likelihood of one interpretation over another. And are heavily influenced by past experience and importantly of potential iconoclasts, what other people say. Important for other people, iconoclast, potential. Okay, now let's read it here. What they're saying, the best way to see things differently to other people, differently from other people, is to bombard the brain with things it has never encountered before. So we are talking about what? The new experiences. Is to bombard the brain with things it has never encountered. That's why other people is to bombard because they're welcoming new experience. The more experience you have, অনেক receptive, অনেকে কিন্তু avoid করে. Novelty releases the perceptual process from the chains of experience and forces to brain to make new judgment. What's that? Novelty means something innovative, new. Releases the perceptual process from the chains of past experience and forces the brain to make new judgment. That's a novelty. Because novelty, they are always trying to what? To take up new challenges. People who are not iconoclasts, they don't take the challenges. Then what happens? Past experience and forces the brain to, we don't make new judgments, but they make it because they are forcing it. Successful iconoclasts have an extraordinary willingness to be exposed to what is fresh and different. Observation of iconoclasts shows that they embrace novelty while most people avoid things that are different. So how they are different? Because they keep on exposing themselves in new challenges. So their brain learns more option. They have more option to deal with. And if they have more options, they have more solutions as well. Then what? Which one? Exposure to yes, no, not given. It's different. The brain to think. Is it true or false? Exposure to different events forces the brain to think differently. True, false, or not given?
Yes.
Anybody?
True.
I think
True.
it's true. They mentioned definitely.
You say universal truth.
Anyway.
It's yes.
Well,
Yeah.
oh, sorry. This is yes. This is. If you write true, it's a wrong. It's a wrong answer. If it is, you must write what? You must write yes.
Yes.
If it is
No,
yes,
not given.
you can write Y or you can even write WES. The same, no problem. Iconoclasts are usually perceptive to new, unusually perceptive to new experience.
No.
Huh?
No.
Unusually, they're more
I think
into
it's true.
unusually.
It's yes.
I think it's true. They're saying that. Yeah, see?
Yes.
The best way to think
Unusually,
is unusually. Novelty releases make as a successful iconoclast have an extraordinary willingness to be exposed to what is fresh. This is. If it is true, then what? I think that is what. This is also unusually, extraordinary, the same. This is true.
Oh, unusually.
Unusually. Okay. Most people are too shy to try different things. Most people, they're talking about most people are too shy to try different things. Let me see whether it's mentioned Acha, we haven't see most people. Okay, here. Observation of icono showed that they embrace novelty, while most people avoid things that are different. Here they mention that what? Most people avoid things that are different. Most people avoid things that are different. And here they say most people means, okay, most people are too shy to try different things.
I think it's not given
Why?
because
What's the
it's not
problem
talking
about?
about shying.
And the problem is about shying. They avoid, but we don't know why. It could be one, it could be shy, or it could be other things. We don't have any idea. You got my point. When we could have written no, if they mention that it was not shyness that
Could be
forces
yes.
people, to not to avoid things, then only no. Other than that, we don't have any idea whether it's shyness, or shyness could be one reason, but it's mentioned no. So we can say for sure. So এটা কি হবে তাহলে? If that is the case, we should write not given. It could be, or it may not be. Nobody can say. Acha, what about the other one? If you think an iconoclast way, you can easily overcome fear. Easily is very important. Whether it's easily, or if you think like iconoclast. So we will all become iconoclasts from today after reading this passage, huh? Okay, let's see. Yes, let's try to think, and we won't have to solve any more passages from today because we have become iconoclasts. Okay. So what
But
about
we need
this
to
one?
take challenges.
Huh?
The only thing is to make sure that we are getting new challenges every day.
We'll have to make sure that yes, we get a 10.
Yeah.
10, because already 9 is assured. 9 is assured. If it is 10, then we can take the challenge. What about this one? The problem with novelty, however, is that it tends to trigger the brain's fear system. Novelty, we are afraid of failure. Fear is a major impediment. Impediment means obstacle to thinking like an iconoclast, and stops the average person in his track. So it's the fear. Is a fear, fear of failure probably. The average person, they think about the failure first. Then they think failure is the result, so why should I go for that? So there are many types of fear, but the two that inhibit means stops iconoclastic thinking, and people generally find difficult to deal with, are fear of uncertainty and fear of public ridicule. Should we go there, or I don't know? Have you covered it? If you think you can easily overcome fear. I don't know. Let's read. Have you mentioned?
No.
The tend to trigger. Fear is an impediment thinking. These may seem like trivial phobias, but fear of public speaking, which everyone must do from time to time, afflicts 1/3 of the population. Do we belong to the 1/3? Most of us? Many of us, probably. Afflicts means it what?
Afflict means alleviate, or
No. Afflicts is a negative word. Afflicts is punish.
Yeah, like that.
Afflicts means what? It put us into difficulty.
Affect. Yeah.
This makes too common to be considered a mental disorder. It is simply a common variant of human nature, one which iconoclasts do not let inhibit their reaction. So they don't, this fear factor is not in their dictionary. It's not in their dictionary. They don't care about that. Even if they become a person of ridicule, they don't care about that. Okay, so what about the answers? If you think in an iconoclast, you can easily overcome fear. Did they mention can easily overcome fear?
Not given.
Okay, they're saying that you overcome fear. But easily, are they mentioning easily or difficult in a difficult manner? No.
No,
No.
sir.
This is the problem. I think, the problem is what? Easily. We can say whether it's easily or in a difficult way. ঠিক আছে, তাহলে কি হচ্ছে? Then we should say what? Yes. Is it not given or no? 35 could be what?
It's not given.
You can easily, if you think in iconoclast, you can easily overcome fear. 35,
Not
No.
given.
not given. 35, let's see. The problem with novelty. Can we read it again? Let's read it again. It's 35. The problem in novelty, however, is that it tends to trigger the brain's fear system. Fear is a major impediment of thinking, like an iconoclast, and stop the average person in his track. What does it mean? The problem with novelty, however, is that it tends to trigger the brain fear system. Fear is a major impediment to thinking. Fear is a major impediment to thinking like an. So they're not afraid and stop the average person in his track. There are many types of fear, but the two that inhibit iconoclastic thinking and people generally find difficult to deal with as a public. These may seem trivial, but fear of public as this makes too common to be considered mental. It is simply common where the one which I do not let inhibit their reaction. They went for no. Should it be no?
ও হইতে পারে যেটা ওভারকাম করা যেতে পারে মানে
If you
ইজিলি
think in icon, you can easily overcome.
ইজিলি করা যায় না কিন্তু ওভারকাম করতে পারে
overcome করতে পারে. Okay, it's a part of that.
কনফিউজিং আর কি
I think if you think in an iconoclast, you can easily overcome fear.
ওভারকাম করতে পারে বাট ইজিলি না
easily I think I have a little bit reservation about this one, না? এটা একটু confusing হয়ে যায় easily. এখানে ওরা they went for no. If you think you can easily overcome. If you think in an iconoclastic way, is it true? If you think in an iconoclastic, you can easily overcome fear. No, I think it depends. Listen, it's iconoclastic way. They're saying about anybody. If they think in iconoclastic way, can they overcome? No. Only the iconoclasts they can do that.
But
not
as
others.
For people who are thinking
average
about
people,
iconoclastic way, they cannot. Yeah.
Average people they can. If you think in now, so this is I don't think it's true. If that's the case, they would have been an iconoclast, but they are not.
Suppose the text.
It's not about whether you want it or not. It's not about whether you want it. You have to be an iconoclast to think in different way. So if you think in an iconoclast, you can easily overcome. I don't think so. So this is
So
right.
it's no.
It's no. It's not. It doesn't matter whether you want to think or not. If you're an iconoclast, you'll be able to do that. If you're not an iconoclast, you'll always have fear. Only iconoclasts, they don't have fear. Okay, so it was a little bit tricky. I think it was a little bit tricky, not very direct. 36 is when concern about embarrassment matters. Other fears become irrelevant. What about 36? I think we have read it. Did they mention other fears become irrelevant? Embarrassment takes over? Did they? I don't think so. Did they mention?
No.
They said that, no, they didn't mention that about other. They're saying, what? It's the two. Fear of uncertainty and fear of public ridicule. If they mention that, what was that? Embarrassment, fear of money, ridicule, public ridicule. They're saying, if this one takes place, this one become irrelevant. Does it? No, they didn't mention anything. They didn't mention anything. There's no guarantee that if this take hold, this one become less. No, So it's ki hobe. What could be the answer? Which one? 36?
Not given.
Not given. No. Not given. They didn't mention that. They mentioned about these both, but they didn't mention that if one takes the center place, the other one. Fear of public speaking is a psychological illness. Fear of public is a psychological illness. It's true. Is it fear of is a psychological illness? They mention something. Fear of does it too common to be considered a mental disorder? Which one? Fear of public, but fear of public speaking, which everybody must do from time to time, afflicts 1/3 of the population. This makes it too common to be considered a mental disorder. It is simply a common variant of human nature, one which iconoclasts do not let inhibit their. This makes it too common to be considered a mental disorder. Too common. It makes it too common to be considered. Too common to be considered a mental. It is simply a common variant of human nature. Are they saying it's a disease? Are they saying it's a disease or no?
No.
No. It makes it people consider it, but it's very natural to be
It's a
afraid
common
to
trait.
speak. It's a to
In
be.
everything, yeah.
Tahle, what kind of answer are we looking at? Fear is a psychological illness? No.
No.
No. I think it should be.
No.
It should be no. Okay. Okay. What about the other ones? Let's see. Thinking like a successful iconoclast is a demanding because why? Why it's very difficult. Demanding is difficult. Demanding is painstaking or very difficult. Why? Why is why? 30, we are looking for 30, 38. Okay, let me tell you, these are in order. The answers is in order. So we can assume that if this kind of answers usually are in order. Other than that, it would have been very difficult. You get my point? It would have been very difficult if it's scattered here and there. Already these are difficult. And it's the last one. People struggle. Thinking like is a demanding. Why is demanding? Demanding this is difficult. Can we read? Can we read from there? Finally here. Can we read it? Firstly, to be successful iconoclast, why it's difficult to think like that? Individual must sell their ideas to other people. This is where social intelligence comes in. Social intelligence is the ability to understand and manage people in a business setting. In the last decade, there has been an explosion of knowledge about the social brain and how the brain works when group coordinate decision making. Neuroscience has revealed which brain circuits are responsible for functions like understanding what other people think, empathy, fairness, and social identity. These brain regions play key roles in whether people convince others of their ideas. Perception is important in social cognition too. The perception of someone's enthusiasm or reputation can make or break a deal. Understanding how perception becomes intertwined with social decision making shows why successful icons are so rare. Okay, so which one? Which one? So why it's very difficult to become what? So what thinking like a demand because it what? Requires both perceptual and social intelligence skill. Focus on how group decision. Now it is a part. Amar mone hoy this shouldn't be the case. It's narrow. Works in many fields. Works in fields both artistic? No. I don't think C. C is the correct. Then what? Then leaves one open to criticism? I don't think so. Involves understanding how organization manage people. Which one? Which one? Covers the largest spectrum. Which one? What we have read, the whole
C.
diagram. Works in many fields, both arts. Did they mention about artistic? I don't think so.
No.
I think it's A.
Yeah. Oh.
The social intelligence and perception.
Skills.
I think these two are mentioned. But the other ones is too narrow. Too narrow. Acha. The concept of the social brain is useful to a social brain. Let's talk about social brain. Now we are talking only about social brain. What did they mention about social brain here? Did they mention about social brain? Ages, social brain. In the last decade, there has been an explosion of knowledge about the social brain and how the brain works when group coordinate decision making. Reveal that the brain are responsible for functions like understanding what the people, fairness. So this brain play when convince other people. So which one? Now social brain.
Group.
The concept of social brain is useful because what? Focus on group, how decide on action. Which one? Works in many fields. Which one? Concept brain is useful. It focuses on what? What they focus? Where is social brain? There has been exploration about the and how the brain works when AJ. I think groups coordinate decision making. Is there anything? Group coordinates. Yeah, groups decide on an action. I think this one. This one. B. B goes. Groups decide. That's a paraphrase of that action. What about C? C is, we are done with this one. We are done. Iconography generally are generally an asset because their way of thinking what? Why their asset? Okay, let's read it. We haven't found that. Iconography create new opportunities in every area from artistic expression to technology to business. They supply creativity and innovation not easily accomplished by committees. Rules aren't important to them. Iconoclasts face alienation and failure, but can also be a major asset to any organization. It is crucial for success in any field to understand how the iconoclast mind works. So which one?
B.
Involves understanding how, no organization. Artistic, they mentioned about artistic and so what? I can see. It's quite unusual to find in one ABC. ABC. It's okay, so it works like that. So C is this one. And we might think that, no, I'm wrong because, the answer is A, B, and C in this order. Okay, anyway. So we are done. So have we become iconoclast? So, or when we wake up tomorrow in the morning, we are a different person. We are Bill Gates or this person. Hopefully, let's pray. Let's pray together. Or and at least God gives us the power to find a solution to get rid of what?
At least to
the corona stuff. Tomorrow. At least we'll be happy if we become iconoclast only for one day.
At least, just one day. At least to complete this reading, we have to be iconoclast.
Iconoclast. Okay. Anyways, so up to IELTS exam, God gives us the power to be iconoclast. Then let's forget about that. Because let's get a 9 out of 9, and hopefully things will work. Achha, so we are done, kind of. So it's 8:43. Can we read something? Task 1 or task 2? At least reading it helps because we don't read by ourselves. What about map? Do you know how to write maps? Map?
Sir, you ever discussed maps with us, but you can do it again.
Okay, let's do the the more you do, no problem. At least we are reading because we don't want to read by ourselves. That's the problem. That's the problem. We don't read it. Okay, just at least read it. If we read it together, we'll just read it out. You understand how things work. Okay, sometimes it happens. Okay, so let me see. Where is that? Facebook. Share. whether I'm not sure whether I have it. Just a moment. Just give me one moment. Map. Okay, yeah. So I think this is the map. Okay, can you see it? Can you see the map? How to write a map? You can see it or no?
Yeah, sir. This
Everybody?
is being shared. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, shared. Okay, let's read it. You know, if we get time, we can even read this one. And oh, the other day we read process diagram, huh? The other day
Yes,
we
sir.
read process. Okay, so if we get time, we can even read another type of essay. You know, let's read it quickly. At least we understand the difference. IELTS map questions are easiest to answer. There are no numbers to analyze, just 2 or 3 maps to compare. Very occasionally, there might be only one single map, but this is rare. The maps will be of the same location to different what?
Different times.
Different times. This could be in the past, the present time, or a plan for a proposed development in the future. You are required to write about the changes you see between the maps. There are 5 steps to writing a high-scoring IELTS map essay. What? You must analyze the question, identify the main features, write an introduction, write an overview, and write details paragraphs. If you don't follow all these, you're not going to get a very good score. I must emphasize the importance of step 1 and step 2. What are those? Analyze the question and identify the main features. It is essential that you complete this planning stage properly before you start writing. You will understand why when I guide you through it. I shall only take 5 minutes, leaving you a full 15 minutes to write your essay. In this lesson, we are going to work through 5 stages. Just a moment. Okay, I must emphasize, okay, before we begin, here is a model essay structure that you can use as a guideline for all IELTS academic task 1 question. Whereas ideally, your essay should have 4 paragraphs: introduction, overall, first main feature, and second main feature. We now have everything we need to begin planning and writing our IELTS map essay. Here is our practice question. This is the map below shows the village of Stokefield in 1930 and 2010. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparison where relevant. Write at least 150 words. Yeah, write at least 150 words. Okay. So, you know, we'll have to, you know, it's 1930 and 2010. There's some changes. You see, there's some changes. Okay, there's some changes. So you'll have to describe those changes. Okay, so analyze the question. The format of every academic test 1 question is the same. Here is our practice question. Again, the words that will be included in all question highlighted. The map below show the village of Stokeford in 1930 and 2010. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparison where relevant. Every question consists of, okay, so what sentence? A brief description of the graphic. Sentence 2 is the instruction and the graphic. Sentence 2 tells you what to do. You know, you must select the main features. See, you must answer all the answers they're asking. So you must select. If you don't select the main features, you're not going to get marks, especially for task achievement. No, task achievement. Write about what are the 4 criteria? Who can tell me? What are the 4 criteria for task 1? Task achievement, then
task achievement,
coherence and
cohesion, lexical resources, and grammatical range.
Lexical, you know, lexical, you know, range of vocabulary and accuracy.
Grammar.
And accuracy. The same goes with grammar. That's another 9. That range of grammar and accuracy. Range means variety. Variety of vocabulary and accuracy. Variety of grammar and accuracy. All these 3 tasks refer to the main features of the graphic. You do not have to write about everything. Just pick 2 or 3 key features and you will have plenty to write about. Identify the main features. This is very important. If you don't identify the main features, you know, you haven't answered the question. all you are looking for are main features. Start with the earliest map. Earliest map means the one, you know, that dates back, you know, 1930s, whatever. Identify the key features and look to see how you have changed, how they have changed in the later map. And again in the final map if they're free. Here are some useful questions to ask. What time periods are shown? All the maps of past, present, and future situations are all the maps. This is important to note because it will determine whether you write your essay using past, present, or future tenses. Very important. You know, so if it is past, sometimes what happens, they might even give you something present and future as well. They're giving a map. They're saying that someone designed or, you know, redesigned the map and what's going to happen in the future. So in that case, you are writing present and future. But if the case is they're talking about what was 10 years back and what is now, now you're using past tense and what? And the present tense. The two maps in our practice IELTS map question show the village of Stokeford at two different times in the past. So here, both are past. So we don't have to write about present tense. We'll have to write one in the what? In long past, one is in the near past. This immediately tells us that we need to use the past tense in our essay. What are the main differences between the map? One thing you could have done a past perfect tense. You know, that's perfect, but using perfect tense in this situation is quite difficult. Quite difficult. Other than that, I would have used that. What features have disappeared? You know, this could be very important. What new features are in place? Features mean something. You know, there was a bridge. No, it's no longer there. You know, what new features? There are some new addition of, you know, buildings or housing complex. You know, you'll have to write that. What features have remained the same over the time period? This could be, you know, probably a restaurant has remained the same. You know, you have to mention. So basically three. Difference, disappeared, then, you know, new features. Okay, it's in the same place because in most of the cases, if something disappears, there are new features there, new establishment. Now, also try to make sure that you use these north, south, east, west, northeast, northwest, southwest, and southwest. You know, so even if they haven't mentioned it, still, even they have mentioned it, even they haven't mentioned it. Here they have mentioned it. Even they haven't mentioned. You can use those. You can clearly use these, and it's better to use these. What's that? Source. There are a number of different features you could select, such as the loss of shops, the disappearance of farmland, the enlargement of school and development of large house into a retirement home. Many maps will contain far more changes than our sample maps, and the changes may be complex. In such cases, you won't have time to write about all of them and will need to select just 2 or 3 main features to focus on. Our maps are quite simple, so we will list all 4 of the major changes I have just identified. Main features: the farm has been built, the farmland has been built on, so the farmland has been built on, then the large house has been converted into a retirement home, the school has been enlarged, the shops have disappeared. The key features you select will be the starting point for your IELTS map essay. You'll then go on to add more detail later. However, with just 20 minutes allowed for task 1 and a requirement of only 150 words, you won't be able to include many details. We are now ready to begin writing our essay. Here is a reminder of the 4-part structure we are going to use: introduction, overview, first main feature, and second main feature. For this essay, we will adapt this a little to write about 2 of the features in paragraph C3 and other 2 features in paragraph 4. Write an introduction. How you are going to write the introduction? In the introduction, you should simply paraphrase the question. That is, say the same thing in a different way. You can do this by using synonyms and changing the sentence structure. For example, the maps below show the village of Stokeford in 1930 and 2010. Okay, 10. Introduction, paragraph 1. The two maps illustrate how the village of Stokeford, situated on the east bank of the river Stoke, changed over an 80-year period from 1930 to 2010. Introduction, this is, they have added a little more information, but the basic idea is the same. The way show, okay, to illustrate how the village Stokeford, situated on the east bank of the river Stoke, changed over an 80-year period from 1930. So, they have added a little bit more information. No problem. And that's better. This is all you need to do for the introduction. Write an overview. This is very important. This part, overview. This means that you can read a, map. You can understand what are the biggest changes. They're asking you to find the changes, the main features. In the second paragraph, you should describe the general changes that have taken place. The detail comes later in the essay. State the information simply. No elaborate vocabulary or grammar structures are required. Just the appropriate words and correct verb tenses. For example, overview. There are considerable development of the settlement over these years, and it was gradually. Okay, this is an overview. What you understood from the given pictures. There were considerable development of the settlement over these years, and it was gradually transformed from a small rural village into a large residential area. Okay, so this is, it's not given. It's not clearly given. Nothing has been mentioned there, but you'll have to understand these. So the more essay you read, especially not essay, this kind of report, map essay or map report, you understand what are the best way of writing this. This is a pretty good overview, Two sentences would be better than one for the second paragraph, but we will be getting into the details if we say more about these maps at this point. So we will leave the overview as one sentences. Okay, so the point is, whatever you have mentioned, you must describe it in the following paragraphs. You can leave anything. There might be other things that are there in the map, but you might leave. But here, whatever you have mentioned here, everything must be described, everything, because this is an overview. Write the first detailed paragraph. Paragraph 3 and 4 of your IELTS map essay are where you include more detailed information. In paragraph C, you should give evidence to support your first one or two key features. In the case of our main features, 1 and 3 are closely related. So we will write about these two together. Here they are again. The farmland has been built on, main feature, and the school has been enlarged. Okay, can we see the picture of the map? What they're trying to say about built on, the farmhouse. Where is the farmhouse? Oh, sorry. Oops. Map. Okay. So where is the farmhouse? Farmhouse. This is the farmhouse. Built on. This is the farmhouse. And instead of farmhouse, we have other stuff. There's no farmhouse in 2010. Okay, let's read it how they have described. Okay, has been built on, and the school has been enlarged. The most notable change in the present of housing on the areas that were farmland back in 1930. New roads were constructed. Built on means new construction have taken place. New roads were constructed on this land and many residential properties built. In response to the considerable increase in population, the primary school was extended to around double the size of the previous. You see, modifier, this is a comparison, language of comparison. Very important. Always try to use as many language of comparison as, because they are checking it. They are asking you to compare. So let's read it again. The most notable change is the presence of, okay, this is a topic sentence. They're talking about the topic. Then they describe it. New roads were constructed on this land and many residential properties built. In response to the considerable increase in population, the primary school was extended to around double the size of the previous building. Write the second detailed paragraph. For the fourth and final paragraph, you do the same thing for your remaining key features. Here are the two we have left. The large house has been converted into a retirement home. The shops have disappeared. We are going to focus on this one. This is an example of what you could write. Whilst the post office remained as a village amenity. You see, nice use of village amenity. The two shops that can be seen to the northwest of the school in 1930 no longer existed by 2010, having been replaced by house. See ing structure. In all these structures, you have the vocabulary, you have the amenity. See, amenity, the structures, northwest, no longer extend, and the structure. You have everything. The sentence variety is there. The vocabulary is there. Everything is there. That's why it will get good mark. It's not any other reason. You are giving what they want. You can't expect, you have to learn what they want. If you don't learn, if you can't identify, you're not going to write anything what they want. That's the biggest problem. You'll have to know. You'll have to be humble enough to know what they want. There also used to be an extensive, it used to be, nice use of tense, extensive property standing in its own large garden situated to the southeast of the school. At some time between 1930 and 2010, you see here, variety, sentence variety. Not every sentence, see, all of the sentences are different. They don't start with simply the subject and then following the verb, no. So it's an adverbial phrase at the beginning. Adverbial, it's an adverbial phrase. Here, there's a complex sentence. With the complex sentence, you are also having ing structure. You say there are also, this is another structure. At some time between 1930 and 2000, this was extended and converted into a retirement home. It's excellent writing. It doesn't have to be very difficult language, but you're answering, you're responding to what they're asking you. Simple as that. This was another significant transformation for the village. Here are the 4 paragraphs brought together to create the finished essay. Can we read the essay? The two maps. Let's read the essay. Okay, let's read it. Okay, there's a 4 paragraph. Let's read it together. The two main maps illustrate how the village of Stoke Ford, situated on the east bank of the River Stoke. What is this? This is a shortened relative clause. You are showing that whoever is writing, he knows how to use a shortened. Change over 80 years period from 1930 to 2000. Okay, so he's showing that this person can write, but according to the need, demand. There was considerable development of the settlement over these years, and it was gradually transformed from a small rural village into a largely residential area. How it changed? This is a what? This is what? This is the introduction. This is what? Features. This is the main features. Overall sentence. The most notable change is the presence of housing in 2010 on the areas that were farmland back in 1930. New roads were constructed on this land and many residential properties built. In response to the considerable increase in population, the primary school was extended to around double the size of the previous building. Another, so why, you might say that why they have divided into 2 paragraphs. Sometimes it's easy for the reader to read. And probably what they have done, they have divided the ideas. They have talked about 1 idea at the beginning, 2 ideas, and then another 2 ideas at the last. Why is the post office remain? I think these are more what has been extended, what has been added on. This one, the other stuff. While the post remained as a village amenity, the 2 shops that can be seen to the northwest of the school no longer exist in 2010, having been replaced by houses. So there also used to be an extensive properly standing in its own large garden situated to the northeast of the school. At some time between 1930 and 2010, this was extended and converted into a retirement home. This was another significant transformation for the village. And how many words? 187 words. So how many you should be expected? At least 150 words. Is a word. I is a word. Don't worry, 150 words. Okay, so I think 150 to 200 words is good enough for race. So we kind of covered. We just read it. It's about ideas. Ideas are also very. It's not only about writing. You have to be smart. You have to, understand what they are asking you and then deliver. Other than that, I didn't think it's a very smart move. And I kind of recommend this one. This one is for the beginning is easy. You can just check it out because they haven't give a lot of ideas together. Kind of simple. You read it, then move on to another website or another book. Check it out how they have written. But do that because the more you read, you become what? Be an iconoclast. Then never what? They're always looking for what? New ideas, exploring things. Okay, so first check it out, then compare that, and hopefully you might find that you're discovering new things. And so what is good, what is bad, and what is not, what is accepted and what's not accepted. Okay. Okay, we are kind of done. We are kind of done for today. We are kind of done. So hopefully, at least we read it. Sometimes what happens, we don't want to read it by ourselves. At least we read something. We did a reading, and probably I forgot to send you the listening today. Is there anybody there? Anybody among the participants? Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, do you get the
Yes,
listening?
sir.
Or I forgot to send you today the listening? No, I didn't get it. I forgot to. Okay, sometimes I forget. Okay, so if you want to practice, if for some reason if I forget in the morning, just remind me, please, so I can send it. So try to do the practice. What I'm saying that never wait for that final day. Be iconoclast. Whenever you get the opportunity, go for that. Okay, so I try to send a Cambridge listening practice every day, whenever we have IELTS classes, and try to grab the whenever you get the opportunity, try to do that. It will help you. That perfect time will never come. Always try to take the opportunity. Okay, so any questions? Anybody? Any questions? Any way I can help you? Anyway, or if you have any personal question, you can email me. No problem. I'll try to get back to you through email.
Will we have GMAT class? Yes.
Tomorrow? Yes. I'm having a problem. Problem means when I was compiling those, the biggest problem is you have, those are a little bit difficult. The biggest problem is you'll have to what? You'll have to keep on doing that. And I'm quite, I'm not sure whether you will like that because those who are covering the GMAT, they know they need to do that. Whether they like it, it doesn't matter. Okay, at least let me have one class. Yeah. Let me have one class. I was worried about that. I'm not sure whether you will like it because if you don't like it, there's no point in doing that. That's the biggest problem. Okay, so let's start at least one class. Huh? Yes, one class, then we'll. I've been thinking about that a lot. I've been trying to do that, but when I started, every time I think I'm not getting it. For other people, for GMAT people is fine because they know that they need to, overcome this challenge. But if you are from IELTS or if you are even from GRE, you might find it why I'm doing this. This is my problem. Because I have been telling you that I will start that starter, but I've been trying to do that, but every time I'm finding it, whether it's relevant or not. Okay, at least I'll have one class. Hopefully, day after tomorrow. Oh, no, not day after tomorrow. Today is what? Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Tuesday, we are going to have a GMAT. At least one class. Let's see, based on that, we will decide whether we are going to have more classes or fewer classes of GMAT. Okay?
Sir, yeah. Okay, sir.
Okay. Any questions, anybody? Okay, thank you for your time. Now, I wish you have a good night and be
Yes,
safe.
sir. Thank you for your
And
precious time.
no problem. Let's pray for all of us. We remain safe.
Of course.
And
I mean,
and if you have any suggestion, any kind of suggestion, you can even email me. In response to the email I send you. You can just check it. I will check it if it's possible. I'll be able to try to implement those. Anything? What about listening? Can we do a listening in the? Is it possible to do a listening in one of the classes? I think it could be difficult. I don't know.
if it's possible, it might be so helpful for us.
Yeah,
Because,
just at least one
yeah.
or two. But I don't know how to do that. Because here, whether the audio, you need to listen to the audio as well.
Sir, you can play the audio file or in another device, and you can share the screen of the answers or the question, so that we can,
You'll be able to. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to try it out first, and then
Yeah.
I can. Okay.
I think it's possible, sir.
I think yeah. So at least if we can do one or two, and then if we
Yeah.
discuss, if we have problem, that could be a good way of doing things as well.
And
Okay,
here,
let's see.
many
Let's see.
also
At least,
expert in expert
ju-
in so they can also help.
just at least not all the days, at least in 1 or 2 days. We're
week.
doing four classes. We
Yeah.
can meet for at least one day. If anybody is having problem with listening, there's some tips. Definitely, there's some tips. At least we can share. We can share among us.
Yes,
That could be a way out. Okay. Good night. Thank you. Let's
Thank
pray
you, sir.
for all of us and be safe.
Good night, sir.
And
Good night, sir.
okay.
Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you. Walaikum salam. Good night.
Okay. Good
Everybody.
night, sir.
Good night,
Okay,
sir.
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Welcome, sir. Welcome.
Okay. Welcome.
Thank you, sir.